Alright.
Is it on? Yes.
Yes, it's on.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I welcome you on behalf of Y Islam and on behalf of MCMC. What we are going to embark on is a series I'm calling Convert Chronicles. In it, inshallah, I wish to have brothers and sisters come and share their stories of how they came into Islam. So we'll inshallah listen to this with the intention to understand some of the littlest things that can impact a person to come into the fold of Islam. This journey towards Islam, I believe every person in the whole of humanity is on this journey in one way or another, and we want to be able to make it easy for them. So with that said, my name is Muhammad Asif. I'm an outreach coordinator for the mosque, and alhamdulillah, we have a beautiful outreach program. So in this, we're embarking on this Convert Chronicles, and definitely be on the lookout. Weekly we'll post a video. With that said, today, alhamdulillah, we have Brother Jonathan. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Good, good.
Alhamdulillah. What's your full name, brother?
Jonathan Miller.
Jonathan Miller.
Yes.
MashaAllah. Where are you from?
Belleville, New Jersey.
Belleville, New Jersey. So you're a revert. You came back to Islam.
Yes.
Well, not back to Islam. So there's two words. There's a convert and there's a revert.
Yes.
Right. So you know the difference?
Now I do.
How would you explain it?
A revert is basically the concept that a person was born to be Muslim and they went astray, and then they reverted back to what they were naturally meant to be, rather than saying a convert.
So you would rather be called a revert then?
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay, rather than a convert.
Yeah.
So basically, everyone is born a Muslim, and because they're born a Muslim, even if they are ending up to be a Christian or Jew or any other religion, when they come back to Islam, they're pretty much coming back rather than entering Islam for the first time. And that's why they are a revert. So Brother Jonathan Miller is a revert. And I would love for you to just listen to his story, because I want you to be able to just kind of like, from the heart, share with us what is your journey like? What exactly, when did it start? How did you even, what happened? How did you hear about Islam?
Well, one person introduced me to Islam, which was my friend at the time, who's now my wife.
Oh.
Yeah. But before that, I think my journey began when I was growing up as a child. I didn't even know it yet. Like, I feel I grew up with the morals that, you know, a Muslim is supposed to have. I feel I was born with that. Well, I didn't lie. I mean, everyone lies once in a while, but I tried not to lie. I didn't cheat anyone. I didn't steal. You know, I respect life. I don't step on a bug, for example, if I see something like a worm or something, you know. And I was just a kid being this way. So it goes hand in hand with what you said about how, you know, we are reverts, like we were meant to be Islamic, you know, and I was born with Islamic morals and beliefs. I just didn't know it at the time. So I think my journey began around that age.
God already created all of us on the fitrah, which is the nature, and then you were already there.
Yeah.
Now,
that's how I feel.
You feel that Islam already was in your heart already because of the way that you were living naturally.
Yeah, it was instilled.
And ever since you're a kid.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I mean, I went astray, of course, you know, when things in life like tear you away from the path.
So share with us your story as to.
Okay. Well, I was born into a Jewish family.
A Jewish family.
Yeah, but non-practicing.
Non-practicing.
Yeah, Reform Judaism they call it. You know, you go to synagogue, like, you know, the way Catholics go to church, like, you know, once a week or so.
So it's like once a week, like they have mass sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly, like that.
Was it Sundays or Saturdays?
It was
Shabbat, right?
I think it was Friday and Sunday, I think. I don't remember, because I really didn't like it. I always didn't want to go.
Okay.
You know, I just didn't feel right. I felt like I was mindlessly going to hear somebody preach about stuff that had a lot of contradictions in it. And if I ask a question about why is this way, I would hear that's just how we do it. It's tradition. Don't question it.
This is how they responded. You like I thought that was more like in the strict Catholic church, but it's the same in synagogues.
From what I remember as a child, yeah. Because prior to being 13 years old, when I was 13 years old, I stopped going. So my memories are very vague of how it was. because prior to being 13.
Don't you go through like a bar mitzvah
Yeah,
and so forth?
exactly.
So that's the age you go through it.
Yeah.
So you just stopped going before that.
Well, once I had the bar mitzvah, I did the bar mitzvah at 13.
You did it?
Yeah.
Didn't you have to study a lot?
I did. Like, they had me take lessons on how to repeat stuff from the Torah. Which is
Okay.
like basically like, the Jewish
Reciting
Bible.
reciting the
Yeah,
Hebrew
reciting
version
prayers.
of it. Okay.
Mhm,
Okay.
yeah. And I had no idea what I was saying. Like, I don't know what it is in English.
So they didn't want to explain nothing. Just go through the motions.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
That's how it felt to me. But I
Okay.
was still young at the time. I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to do this, so I'll just do it. My
Uh-huh.
family wants me to do it, so I did it. And
How many brothers and sisters do you
I
have?
have one sister.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
very
And
nice.
she
So-
she grew up the same way. Like, she's not really religious now.
Same story.
Same exact story.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But her story is different than mine because I converted, and
Uh-huh.
I feel I was always more in touch with God.
Uh-huh.
She has always been kind of like secretive, or
So
I don't know her
yeah.
if she is.
you definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're 13 and you're getting away from the Judaic practices because you never were introduced into it,
Yeah, exactly.
and even when you did ask, they basically shunned you down because it did
Mhm.
not they did not maybe have the answers, or
Yeah.
perhaps okay.
That's what I feel.
And that's how the majority of the bulk of the Jews at the time are pretty much doing.
I can't say everyone's like that because I don't want to point a finger, but
Right.
that's how my experience.
In your
was.
circle, it was
Yeah.
it was that way.
And plus, because my mother and father, they said they were Jewish, but they
Uh-huh.
really didn't know anything about the Jewish religion
Right.
to teach me anything. I would ask them questions and they wouldn't even have an answer for me. So,
They were pretty much Jewish by identity,
yeah, pretty
By-
much going
okay.
along with the flow.
by,
like,
by
well,
heritage sort of thing,
Yeah, kind of.
not
like
by
that.
knowledge.
No, totally
okay.
not by knowledge. no.
Okay.
And,
Okay then.
when you have no one to really guide you, you're
Right.
like, okay, my own parents don't even really have answers, and they don't even really care.
They're supposed to guide you.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Okay.
and I'm kind of glad they didn't, because
Uh-huh.
it led me on the path to where I am now.
Right.
And yeah, so that's how I grew up.
Uh-huh.
And when I got to be 13, I was like, I don't want to go to temple anymore. I don't want to take part in the next level where you go to like a Hebrew high school they have.
Uh-huh.
My family was like, okay, that's all right, whatever you want to do. And because like I said, they really didn't have any interest in it. so
They didn't push
liked
you.
it.
They because they weren't connected, so they didn't wish to connect you. Okay, and then what happened?
And then, maybe I'm 13, 14, going through high school, and I really have no religion at this point, but I always believed in God, and it's very spiritual, and I always talk to God every day. I would say, please get me through this day, please help me with this.
What made you believe in God?
I've always been instilled with that belief that there is a God, and there's so many things in life that make you believe that there's a God. Look at even an insect.
Signs and so forth.
Yeah.
Even an insect.
Even these little things that are created, like microscopic organisms, things of that nature, they don't just occur naturally, with no point. Like
Allah, in Surah Baqarah, it speaks about exactly
the
that.
fly.
It says Allah is not shy of using an example
Yeah.
as small as a mosquito
Yep.
or something above that.
Exactly.
And I mean, obviously, if somebody was to look up the tafsir for it, the explanation for it, it's
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous.
It is when you think
But-
about it. And
and-
if you, like if you look at an insect, it could be an
Yeah.
ugly thing for some people, but look at the design of it, like the wings, everything. Like,
It's complicated.
yeah, it really is, and it has its own. It has blood, it has a brain, it has the same things we have inside of it. And it can be so tiny, but it was all created by a being, which at the time it's God.
Someone is
A higher
the
power.
architect,
Yeah.
someone is designing it, someone is orchestrating it,
Exactly.
and it's amazing.
And things like that always made me say to myself, I
So
know
did
this
you
is
used to just go and look at the ants going or
Yeah, I
something
did
like that? That would always make you think?
It would, yeah.
Okay.
I would watch them. I used to have an ant farm, and I would say, look at
You
how
had an
they.
ant farm?
Yeah, you never
Okay.
see those little. That's like a plastic thing, and they dig little
Yeah,
tunnels.
yeah, I always wanted one, but...
Yeah, they're really cool. And you
Yeah.
watch them. They're laying eggs, and they're carrying the
Yeah.
eggs to another
It's
room.
a society in itself.
Yeah, it is, and they're all programmed to do that by.
And they're more organized than
They really are. They really are. They don't even fight with each other. People should take an example from ants.
It is
They
an
fight other
example.
ant colonies,
Right.
unfortunately, but they don't fight amongst their own colony.
It's amazing, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, so you're seeing signs of Allah, and you're seeing that Allah exists, and you're speaking to Him
Yeah.
at the young age of teenage.
Mhm.
Now, what happens? You go through school.
Yeah, I mean, going through high school kind of tore me apart because I was bullied. I didn't really have any friends,
Mhm.
good friends,
Mhm.
So you know, it kind of brought my faith down a little bit. But
Mhm.
that's normal when you're a teenager, you know,
Mhm.
emotional issues and stuff. But I would always keep saying, you know,
Mhm.
please, God, give me something good. I want to be popular. I want to have what these other people have. Give me a girlfriend.
Everybody wishes that, but they don't.
Yeah. You know, when you're a kid, you wish for these
Yeah,
silly things.
of course.
But, you know, people just, you know, like I said, I was bullied in school, and, you know, life just basically happens, and you start realizing, I'm growing up now. I gotta, like, get with the flow. I gotta,
Get
like,
serious.
yeah, exactly. I gotta, like, see what it's like to grow up, and I gotta deal with issues being in school. In high school, you're a young adult, and you gotta deal with issues. So, you know, I dealt with issues, and then, but I always believed in God. Like, sometimes I would question Him and say, why are you letting this happen to me? Why are you not helping me? And I realized later that, you know, these are tests, that He can't, or he can, but He won't give you everything on a silver platter, because you have to go through these bad things to get
Mhm.
to learn the goodness of life,
Mhm.
and you have to
Right.
experience that. So it's a done deal. Everyone
Right.
has to go through it.
Right.
And the main thing what counts is, I feel like, is if, as long as you have faith in Him and you don't give up believing in Him, even though you're going through these horrible things, that's what really counts
Mm.
to Him, and that's
Mm.
like a major thing in Islam I learned too.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, you know, when I became maybe like 18, 19, you know, I started going astray, I guess you could say, you know.
Mhm.
I started going to nightclubs, I started taking
Mm.
drugs, drinking.
Typical flow of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I never was like the type of person who, even though I was taking drugs and drinking, I never was violent, I never hurt anybody, I never did anything destructive. I always had a moral code that,
Mhm.
even being drunk and seeing double, I still could control my moral code. You know, if anything, sometimes when I was drinking and partying, I would see someone who would fall or get hurt, I would go and help them, try to pick them up, or I'd see someone who was passed out, drunk in a nightclub, who needed some help, and I would say, are you okay? You know, like I would still have the moral ethics about
You
it.
didn't lose your heart.
Yeah, I didn't lose it. It stayed with me regardless of what I
Mm.
did.
Right.
And I always knew what I was doing. Like, as drunk as I got, or as many drugs as I took, as many nightclubs as I went to, as many fights and things I've seen, demented things in my.
It's very interesting you say that, because like the typical perception a Muslim has,
Yeah.
like, you know, just because a person drinks, just because a person takes drugs, you would absolutely shut them out. You would absolutely say that these people have nothing to do. They cannot be guided. They're blinded.
Yeah.
They are crushed by God.
Mhm.
And you just basically made a judgment on them based on whatever you thought about them.
Yeah.
And here you are. You're even while you're doing this, you
Yeah.
still have this consciousness where
Yeah.
where Allah has given you the light.
That's-
Regardless of whatever is going on in your life, you still did whatever you could in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And then
And
this is 18, 19 at the age of college time, and
Yeah.
going to different times, and then what?
yeah, and then you know, I started. I didn't find myself at that age. Most people find themselves, like, who they are.
Right,
I had no clue what I was. You know. Like,
right.
I used to think, like, you know.
So your connection is not with your dad, your mom, your
None. I
no
had
no family
support.
members that.
None, because my mother and father, they weren't like bad parents, but they didn't know how to raise
Mm.
me. They weren't emotionally there. They were
They were-
emotionally
okay.
dead inside.
Oh wow.
And they never formed a bond with me, even to this day. Like, I
Mm.
don't have an emotional connection with my mother, sadly. I try, but I don't. And it's not like we fight or we argue. There's just nothing there.
Right.
Because you don't make a crucial emotional development with your kid when they're a certain age, you're
Mm.
never gonna have it.
Right.
They're clueless. They didn't know how to even do that. So
Right.
I don't blame them or anything. I'm not angry. It's just how they were as people.
Right.
So not having that growing up, I'm left to my own
Right.
accords, left to my own,
Yeah.
figure it out myself.
Yes.
And so, me and not having any like real support system or knowing who I was, I just
Mhm.
fell into, I just want to forget my problems. And then I started
Mm.
getting into the drinking by myself,
Mhm.
taking drugs by myself. Not like hardcore drugs, like
Mhm. That's what you turn to escape the feelings that you have.
Exactly. I
Right.
wanted that sense of love and
You
euphoria.
want to fill the hole in your heart.
Yeah, I needed
You want
something.
the emptiness has to be
Exactly.
taking over.
And like, I had a best friend growing up, and
Yeah.
we had great times as kids. But when we got to be older, I saw his true colors, and I'm like,
Mm.
wow, my best friend was fake the whole time. Like,
Mm.
And then I met this girl who in high school, she became kind of my best friend sort of at the time. Like, she kind of I thought she was a good support system in the beginning when I first met her. You know, she helped me with a lot of emotional things and made me aware of
So
myself.
how did you even meet her?
Through high school.
Oh, high school, okay.
Yeah, I knew her in high school and I kind of liked her.
Okay.
So you know, we somehow.
And this is a Muslim sister you were mentioning?
Oh no, this is a different.
Oh, this is a,
Yeah, but this girl had a major role in bringing me to where I am now.
Okay.
And I never saw it at the time, but you know, me knowing her back then when I was young, like, you know, we had a lot of problems, and she was a big part in emotionally damaging me throughout my life, and that kind of took me away from God in a sense too, because I would say, why are you letting these things happen to me, like, you know, again. But then I realized that, you know, later on in life that these things had to happen to take me on this path where I am now,
right,
and how my life is today.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you know, for many years I just was in like basically like, I don't have any religion, I just believe in God, and that's it, that's good for me. And I never really learned about how the world works, about how Allah's plan is at times, how He sets us on a path, and He needs you to go through hard times to get to the right path, because He knows exactly when your life's going to turn around for the better, because He plans your whole life for you.
He allows you to see the two different sides so you can see the different